Originally I was walking in the woods with a camera to be in the nature, to be away from society, to share the insights or ideas that I'd gained from being out in the nature, things that I thought were valuable maybe for others to hear. And I started doing live broadcasts to kind of get closer again to society. But sometimes, you know, the live broadcasts, I always like to do things like that with a conviction. It's not like a hobby for me, you know, making videos. Even this video now is not like a hobby, even though making videos, this medium is an interest of mine. I'd be talking about something different. I'd be amusing, you know. But we live in a world where I feel that, you know, that people are not happy. I've not been happy in society since I was born, really. I always felt like an outsider. And I always try to do my best to fit in somehow. And there's I've met a lot of good people along the way who do feel the same. So that's a great motivation for making videos like this, you know, and combining my interests in making videos with, you know, sharing ideas with people. But like I say, it's not a hobby really. It feels like a necessity to say something on camera, or maybe even to say nothing and that be a statement. There's a lot of horrors in the world, a lot of reasons actually for an individual like me or you to actually stand up and fight one or the other cause. Maybe you've got your own, you know, particular conflict in life that you're dealing with. I think most of us have. And so I guess we're all looking to become free. We're all looking to live in the system freely, but to maybe even contribute to making a better system for others, a better world, a better society. It's question, you know, the question is, how do we do that? There's many ways that we can, you know, in fact every individual's got a way, and together we make that, you know. All these causes and horrors and things, and, you know, the things we see on the media, things that we have to question anyway, but the things around the world, you know, there's the problems, the horrors, you know, I could dwell on that. I could do like, you know, talk about it now, or I could talk about it on my broadcast. All of the horrors, you know, that about society. And but I choose, in a way, on the things I do to look into why maybe those, why the world is the way it is, why the horrors have come about. And it's a deep research, because at the first you think, oh, it's just greed, or it's just good and evil, or it's just this or just that, you know, and the deeper you look, the more complex certain things become and the more simple other things become. And we know from the media itself showing us all the things from around the world, and news and Hollywood, and a mix between fantasy and reality that's like kind of made the line between the two a grey area. And so I choose a lot to talk about, or to share my ideas about language and law and the Bible, and how the media creates a prison in the mind. You know, each different event is installed like a bar, and it becomes like a zoo where we're all domesticated by this system and imprisoned by ideas, you know, literally belief systems. The system is a belief system, and at some point we begin to see the bars, or feel the captivity, But it's almost like the bars are what are keeping us safe as well. Maybe from each other. You know, some animals in captivity are almost more comfortable. If you go to a zoo, not all zoos are, you know, got bars, but most zoos are, you know, most animals are like caged for their own protection, for the public's protection. Some animals get on better, like apes and monkeys seem to be okay in certain spaces, whereas other animals really suffer. You know, the animals that need to run and fly. And a society that creates that kind of situation that is similar to a zoo. You know, we'd all like discuss whether it was, you know, whether we wanted the protection or whether that was the captivity. You know, is the protection the captivity? But then when you look at the protection, you have to ask yourself, is there an enemy, really? You know, nature's always been fierce. You know, the weather can be harsh. But I wouldn't call nature an enemy. Even though gravity can kill you, you know. So there's maybe the chance that a false enemy is created, a false fear, in order to make those bars reversed, you know, important on the inside, important for protection and no longer a sign of captivity, imprisonment. Now, I think life's the way you perceive it, so you can decide to switch those bars in a moment, and I think maybe it's the nature of the universe, the nature of reality, you know, the way things just work, that this, you know, comes out of that whole thing. You know, this crazy system we live in emanates from nature, and so it has that aspect as a thread going through it, the natural aspect, even through the insanity and madness and disparity and despair and disease. You know, this thread of nature will run through it. You know, this. I talk about supernature and man being a supernatural being, and it's in a way because we can build things that are bigger than us, and things that are not self-sustaining. So like a termite can build a hill, but it will probably never be able to see that hill, whereas we can see the hill. I don't know if that's a good metaphor, but the point of it is that like there's a nature beyond what we can see, but to us that nature seems to be abstract, seems supernatural. And so in that realm of supernature in general, a lot can be installed. You know, like with children, you can tell them all kinds of things that they'll instantly believe because they have faith and belief in you as an adult, as a grown up. They have the faith in you. So, you know, it's kind of self-betrayal to betray a child in that way, unless you know that there's a necessity to changing the truth to make it more understandable for the child's mind. But we create realities for each other based on each other's understandings anyway. If you know somebody has got no knowledge of computing, then you'll use simpler terms. Or if they've got more mathematical mind, you could talk about over the numbers, different metaphors depending on whose skill it is. You know, you can almost talk about the law in a metaphor of shipping and boating and yachting. You know, there's all sorts of parallels between each of our abilities and the, you know, and the way that the universe moves, you know, the way things work, the way reality works. We know that music works because of the golden rule. It's not just man's invention. It's, you know, the 12-note scale is what man invented as a good way of performing those notes, but the notes themselves are a part of our physical reality, a part of the energetic co-interaction between things, you know, between atoms and all that. The way the universe works, you know, and it goes all the way into our consciousnesses, into reason, into thought, into everything. Consciousness is in itself, you know, as you feel maybe alone with your thoughts and things, you know, that aloneness didn't come out of nothing, it came out of an everything. And it's not separated from it, it's just a perception in order to function. You know, if you was to perceive the world through everybody's eyes at once, it would be too overwhelming for you in that moment. Life's very much more about applicability. You know, nature's set up to be in balance and harmony with itself. You'll see plants that thrive off each other, growing near each other. Certain plants growing in certain climates. So the nature, you know, it's universal, but it's got particularities to it. And so you as a particular, a particle of the universe, a star, and I. And you know yourself, you're the only one who can see inside of you, you're the only one who knows how you feel and what you like and don't like, and no one else can prescribe that, and so no one else can find that. But the freedom to find that is the thing, you know, the freedom for every man and woman and child to pursue life, liberty and happiness. And but I think when we start looking at ourselves as a part of, you know, part of the universe, as in that oneness, then you wouldn't be surprised if there's not a part of each one of us that's yearning to be one, you know, to be united without sacrifice, you know, in harmony, just like pieces of a puzzle coming together without having to force one piece to another. You know, just the right pieces locking into place, and then you know, just revealing the bigger picture on both sides of the puzzle. All particulars, all particles of the puzzle, you know, each one of us. It's an encouraging thought, and very abstract, you know, and I think that abstraction, if we can hold on to that and know that the world we live in is an abstraction. You know, in a way, like it's a transcendence from one side of a gap to another side. You know, is the bridge strong enough, or is it short enough to jump? And I think we do this in our imagination first. We see the distance and imagine jumping, and if we see someone else jump, we imagine, can I do it too? But it starts in the imagination. It's like if you're riding a bicycle. If you want to go left, it comes in the imagination and then it happens in reality. You know, imagination isn't just a place where we kind of dream. It's a place where everything's envisioned. And so life, it's like when you get on a bicycle for the first time, it's that transcendence between standing and walking, which is easy, and riding with momentum, which is easy. That actually getting on that bicycle, it takes a lot of imagination and trial and error, and then once you get rolling, the actual getting on the bicycle was only, you know, is now a thing of the past. You know, riding is about riding and not getting on, but the getting on process is a completely different one to riding. So yeah, transition period from the zoo through the wild into a better life. You know, that's what I hope for anyway. I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheerio.